Hi, I'm Dawn, and this is where Shabby meets Bling.
This is the Great Spring Fake Bake Challenge. I would like to thank my co-host, Jackie, from Crafting in Mimi's World. You're going to find the links to her channel and this playlist in my description box below. I have a lot of these little round forms, so I took one of them and I gently pressed it and shaped it into an egg shape. I will be using it as a cookie cutter with my flour clay. It is nice and it is big and it's going to be fun to decorate. I'm going to make maybe half a dozen or so of these beautiful egg-shaped cookies. Look how nice that turned out. I mean, it really looks like an egg shape, so woohoo! I will not only be making egg-shaped cookies, I will be making cookies that look like carrots, bunnies, and chicks. That will cover what I'm making as far as cookies go. But then I'm gonna make some candy too out of flour clay. Not just any candy, I'm going to be making English licorice. And if you don't know what that looks like, it looks like this. There is such a variety of shapes and colors of English licorice. I just chose two, and at a later date I might do some of the others, but from right now I'm just going to do the really cool little round ones with the black centers and the little stacked ones that look like little mini layered cakes. I will be doing 2 sizes of the little stacked ones and only 1 size of the little round ones with the black centers. I am using fondant cutters to make my shapes, 1 round and 2 different sizes of square fondant cutters. So easy. Once I have cut out all the shapes I need, I'm going to set them aside to let them dry for just a couple of hours. My candies are ready to work with. I did not want them completely dry. I want them still to be very, very pliable because I need to place a hole in the middle of them. If you remember, the round ones have that dark licorice black center, and I need to create a center so that mine look just like that. I'm using basically a very firm straw. You've seen me use these green things in many different projects for many different reasons. For this project, I'm using it like a giant hole punch. I will be using 3 round circles to make each piece of candy. The top piece and the bottom piece will have holes placed in their centers. Once every 2 out of 3 get a hole placed in the center, I'm going to prep all my little candy pieces for paint. I guess Friday has to cover his face because my work table is a little too bright to take a nap, buddy, so deal with it because I've got work to do. First thing I need to do is get all of the cornstarch off all of my pieces. I think I roughly had 60 some odd pieces here. Yeah, I don't know when to stop sometimes, I'm telling you, but it doesn't give me that many actual pieces of candy because each piece of candy uses 3 shapes. After I get my cornstarch off, I will take a very fine sandpaper and just lightly sand down the edges. That's the beauty of flour clay, is it is so workable. I love this stuff, so versatile. After the cornstarch is removed and my edges are sanded, I can give the little round ones their final step before I can paint them. And that final step is glue and one time. I guess final steps, not final step. I have 2 things to do to these things. To glue them, I am using Elmer's Craft Bond, the all-purpose glue that I love so much, and it is amazing how well this works on flour clay. I take the bottom circle with the hole in the middle and put some glue around the perimeter. I add the whole circle on top of that, and then add the second round with the hole in the middle with glue on it. Press them together and make sure they're lined up nice and straight as can be, and then I hold them just for a little bit until that glue grips. Once my little round discs are no longer moving about, I will take my one time, and I will fill any little gaps, any spaces in between my layers. I will take the one time all the way around the perimeter, and once I am sure I have hit all those little nooks and crannies, I'm gonna set all the little pieces of round candy aside to dry. Now Yes, now we get to paint. I am going to be painting my little candies, the round ones, 3 different colors. I am painting this little guy right here in Cameo Pink. It is an apple barrel matte paint by Plaid. Then I'm also going to be painting 3 of the little candies in a folk art matte by Plaid, the color medium yellow. And the final 2 little round candies will get painted another apple barrel paint, and this color will be bonnet blue. I am painting even the little circles inside that I cut out with that straw. I am making sure every bit of these little candies are covered. They will all get 2 coats of paint. Once they're dry, we can add their centers. Playing the part of the licorice center tonight will be Tulip Dimensional Paint. Yeah, I figured the easiest way to do this is just take some of my dimensional paint and fill that little hole in, and I'm overfilling. This is filled to the brim and above and beyond with a little cap. Basically, it's really mounded up because when it dries, it shrinks. So I'm making sure it's nice and full, overly full, even tapping them on the table to make sure that paint goes down into that little hole. And then I'll set them aside to dry. And these are going to have to dry overnight before I do the other side. Both sides have their lovely little centers and they're dry as can be. And now I am going to sugar them. And when I say sugar, I mean sand. This is a white decorative sand. And here's a little tip. Sand that you get at the Dollar Tree is going to be more coarse. So it works well for some things. If you want a finer sand, a really, really nice fine sand, you're going to get a decorative sand at Hobby Lobby. I'm sure Michael's and other stores like that have this real fine sand as well, but this is my preference. This over the Dollar Tree if you really want it to look like sugar. I am coating every bit of the little piece of candy with Mod Podge except for the little black center, and then I'm coating it with the sand. I'm coating it with the sugar. I take my time to make sure it's not too thick, and if you get a little too much on there, yeah, just brush it off with a fingertip. And if you wait too long and it's totally dry, you can sand it back with sandpaper, but that will take that lovely glittery sheen off of the sand. Once I get all my little round pieces of candy sugared, they will be set aside to dry, and we'll start in on the squares. These are the smaller squares, and they're going to be painted a caramel color on top, a black in the middle, and a white on the bottom. I am starting with the middle pieces, and I'm using an apple barrel matte paint by Plaid and the color black. That's it, just black. And I am not painting the entire piece. The centers, top and bottom, don't need to be painted. Plus, when I glue them, it will help that I'm gluing actual flower clay to flower clay. So I hit the perimeter of the center ones, the black ones. I'll let those dry, then I'll flip them over and paint the perimeter of the other side. Now for the top, I am painting it to look like caramel. The paint I'm using is my gingerbread concoction that I use all the time when I'm doing gingerbread projects. I used it in this video if you want to check out the actual combo that I used to make this color. The entire top will get painted as well as the sides and the perimeter of the bottom. I will use the exact same process when I paint the bottom layer of these candies. They will be painted white. Also, an apple barrel matte by Plaid. Everything will get at least 2 coats. I want to make sure it's covered and covered well. Now to make a 1 candy out of 3 pieces. Once again, I'm using my all-purpose Elmer's glue to do so. I put a little bit of glue near the center of each of the pieces, and then I press them together. I don't put too much glue on here because it will squish out the sides. If I have too much glue, because I'm going to clamp them. Yeah, I'm going to squash these little guys in a clamp. Once I'm sure my little candy isn't gonna move around, I put it into that clamp and I start to squeeze. I squeeze it as hard as I can. Granted, not as strong as I used to be. I'm not a kid anymore, but I'm still pretty strong. So I squeeze it and I squeeze it and I squeeze it. And I'm gonna let it sit here for 15-20 minutes or so. This is what it looks like compared to one that I haven't squashed yet. Quite a big difference. Quite a big difference. It will bounce back a little bit, but not a lot. It's still going to be a nice little compact piece of candy that's going to look basically like it's one solid piece and not three glued together. Let's get to clamping. Glamping. You've heard of glamping. This is glamping. Once all my pieces are dry and clamp free, they will get sugared as well. The exact same way I sugared the other candy. But these little guys will get completely covered. After this, I will finish the larger square candies and then move on to the cookies. Here are my cookies. I really am thrilled with how they came out. I ended up doing 9 of the little Easter egg sugar cookies. I probably won't get them all decorated for this video, but I'm gonna give it a whirl. I am painting them to look like sugar cookies. That means I needed a really light colored paint, and what I'm using is a Decor Americana acrylic paint, and the color is a buttermilk. I did try the one up there in the corner with a Waverly chalk paint in the color of cashew, and I just feel an acrylic paint is going to serve me better, and it turns out the colors are almost identical. So I give all of them, all of my eggs, the bunnies, the chicks, and my carrots, 2 really good coats, front and back, of this beautiful buttermilk paint. Now it's time to figure out my designs. Well, the first thing I need to do is I need to draw a perimeter for the field, the color field that I'm going to paint in. When bakers do those beautiful cookies where they flood the cookie with frosting, they don't go all the way to the edge. With a thicker frosting, they pipe a line all the way around the edge, kind of where my little pencil is now. And once that frosting has set, they come back with a looser frosting and they basically just pour it in or flood it in, leaving a little bit of the cookie exposed around the perimeter. So I am designating where my quote-unquote flood is going to be by drawing a line that I can follow while I paint all the way around the perimeter of all of my cookies. Now I am painting or flooding my frosting where it needs to be. I am painting my little chicks in that medium yellow, the same yellow I used on my English licorice. It is so bright and cheery and so springy, it just makes you smile. And I think in the spring, little chicks are just the best thing ever. Little chicks, little bunnies, so freaking cute. Now that the yellow part of my chicks are complete, I move on to their little beaks, and I will be painting them in a paint from Hobby Lobby. It is a crafter's collection and the color is pumpkin. I will also be using this pumpkin on my carrots. So here's where we are so far. Now I'm going to draw in on my little chicks wings, little wings, and you can see I've got a little eye placed because this is where I am going to use my dimensional paint and my sand, my AKA my sugar. Here are my carrots. You can see they've been painted orange and their stems have been painted in an apple barrel matte by Plaid, and the color is Kelly green. What I'm doing now is I am Mod Podging all of the areas that I painted orange and green, not the buttermilk, just the paint that is acting like frosting. I give all of my carrots and my little duckies 1 coat. Now that my Mod Podge has dried thoroughly, I am going to use my dimensional paint. I will be using it to create those little lines that you see in carrots, almost like little wrinkles. I start by outlining the perimeter of my paint, right along that edge. But while doing so, I will take that paint and bring it in to the middle and create those little carrot wrinkles. These carrots are relatively small, so I don't have to go too incredibly fast, but I have to work fast enough that my paint will still be wet, so my sand sticks to it. Once I have finished with all the lines that I want to make on this little carrot, I sprinkle it thoroughly with the sand. Look at that orange sand. Isn't it beautiful? And doesn't it look like sanding sugar? So pretty. Love it. While the first coat is drying, I will finish my other 2 carrots, my chicks, my bunnies, and my eggs in a very similar fashion, and then I will come back when this is dry and hit it a second time to build up more dimension. While I was thrifting, I found this. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I found it at Goodwill. I paid $1.99 for my little tin, but look what they can go for. So I feel I got a pretty darn good deal. It is vintage. It is beautiful, and I fell in love with it. So I picked it up, and I'm going to use it for some of my little English licorice.
All of the faking and the baking and my candlestick making, my candy making, they're all complete. So let's go get a sample. Why not? Let's go see what's what.
So here's my gorgeous tin. I love it, but I love it more now because when you open it, you see this. I hopped into Canva. I picked a font I liked that I thought would be appropriate, and I typed out English toffee, licorice, and a couple of lines, and then I printed it out. But I didn't print it on white paper, obviously. I have a couple of those really pretty pads of paper. I chose one that coordinates beautifully with the exterior of my tin. I cut it to size and I fed it through my printer. And now I have this beautiful point of sale for the inside of my tin. Seriously, isn't that pretty? I am just madly in love, head over heels, for my vintage embossed tin with my little English licorice inside. Let's take a look at the square licorice. There it is. I mean, oh my goodness. I'm so happy. It looks legit, like someone could pick it up and eat it. I am so happy with how it looks, like it really is one solid piece of candy. Look at those layers. Yum. Yum. It was the clamp. It was the clamping. It really was. That made it look like this. Don't go glamping. Use your clamping. I love this. And love. You can use any colors you want. You saw, and if you Google, you'll see every color under the sun of this beautiful English licorice. Here's all of my English licorice in that little tin, so you can see what it looks like unwrapped. Let's get a good look at our cookies. You may remember Dottie. Well, Dottie's been baking. She's evidently started her own cookie company. Dottie's Easter cookies. She has 3 of the carrots, 1 of the egg sugar cookies, and that little chick for sale. 5 cents each. I'd buy them. I think they're adorable. Here's one of our bunnies with that English licorice. And here's some sugar cookies. 3 of the eggs that I did with the blue, the pink, and the yellow to coordinate with the candy. I even filled a thrifted vintage Easter basket with some of my fake baked goodies. This has been the Great Spring Fake Bake Challenge. Thanks again to my co-host Jackie from Crafting in Mimi's World. You're going to find the links to her channel and this playlist in my description box below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, share it with your family and friends and anyone that likes DIYs, clay crafting, spring, Easter, and holiday decor. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and don't forget to check out my shop on Etsy. Leave me a comment. You know I love hearing from you. Ring that bell for notifications of all my upcoming videos. Subscribe, join. Great ways to support my channel. Yes, they are. But for now, this is Dawn with Shabby Meets Bling. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time.